Hey, this is Power Card, aka Project Pat, and you're listening to the Baltimore Beatdown Podcast, the best Ravens podcast on the planet.
It's pretty incredible. In fact, it's la-marvelous.
Thank you, guys.
All right, the podcast is back. It is Wednesday night, coming to you on podcast platforms on Thursday morning here. My name is Jake Luke. I'm joined by Kyle P. Barber here. Had something come up with Spenny at the last minute, so got you pinch hitting here coming out of the bullpen. How you doing, bud?
Doing all right. Been a pretty busy day, and I'm excited to hop back on the pod, join you, and talk about this unique 3-time postponed game.
Unique is the correct word for it. I think the third Wednesday game ever played. Maybe I saw something floating around out there about Wednesday games. There was like a Cowboys Wednesday game that happened earlier in this past decade, but it was a unique experience. 3:40 p.m. kickoff time. I was still kind of clocked into work technically. Not going to talk about how much work I actually got done at the end of the day there watching the game, especially because it wound up being a lot closer than I was expecting. But, tell me about your setup, bud. What was the viewing experience like? Obviously you're in a whole different time zone than me. So, let's get a little breakdown here.
Yeah. So it's 1:40 p.m. over here in Mountain Time. I live here in Colorado, as most of you know, and it was an interesting, jump around of advising.
Jump around.
I was in my advising class. I had to try and figure out my graduation situation, which is looks so far all systems go. I might even have to take one fewer course this upcoming semester, which is really exciting because 18 credits is not fun. I don't really recommend it to anybody. Was in between that. I met up with another professor. I was watching the stream. I was watching the stream on my laptop. I was all over the place, man. It was a trip today. Weird Wednesday football.
Kind of a Twilight Zone situation. It was kind of a nice day. A nice viewing experience for me. I would sum it up as a nice day. Family. I'm working from home. My dad is semi-retired, so he's always home. And then my mom working from home as well for some reason, which has its benefits and its drawbacks. And watching football with her can be frustrating for some reasons. So we were all kind of watching it together, which, it's nice. You got the family there, got a little fire going, some shrimp. I ate a lot of shrimp. Haven't done game day shrimp in a while, so that was pretty good. And walk out of this game with what I would call the silver linings playbook to head into this final 5-game stretch of the season. I believe 5 games. It's all kind of right out in front of them. And I think they showed that they've got some guts to maybe potentially pull something off down that stretch of games. What did you think? Just general synopsis of what you saw from this team today.
General synopsis. Little bits of breakdown is there's a backup quarterback competition that is not as close, I would argue, after today's ending. I would say there's a lot, like you said, guts being the operative word. Very much in agreement there. The team showed a lot of heart. There's no moral victories. Moral victories are for minor league coaches. But this game, you could take a little bit of hope, and I had fun with this game, with the absence of expectations in Super Bowl aspirations, with just nothing to go in this game with other than, playing football. I found it far more enjoyable to watch than the last few weeks when tensions are so high and stressful and expectations are an absolute maximum.
It felt like there was simultaneously nothing and everything on the line at certain points. Like the fluctuations were just so much. I went into it basically like this is a fucking joke. Like look at this game, look at these rosters obviously one roster, and you made a interesting little football guyism there that moral victories are for minor league coaches. Well, this is basically a minor league team, at least a minor league offense that was out there today. So the fact that they were able to hang in there with this alleged class of the NFL, which by the way we're going to talk about. These Pittsburgh Steelers, they're not long for this world, in my opinion. But we'll get into that. Maybe they'll even. Yeah, I kind of hope they get to 16-0. I was saying this in the chat, our Slack chat a couple weeks ago. It'll be kind of a little bit of juice into the playoffs there, with them being a 16-0 one seed with the Chiefs and the anti-sugar that is Patrick Mahomes coming for them. That'll be pretty fun. But yeah, I mean, that's just kind of general overall thoughts on it. I mean. We're going to touch on all of this, obviously, but just general thoughts on the way the quarterback position played out, which obviously we're going to get to it, but like you really can't convince me that Trace McSorley shouldn't have been in there for a little bit longer, if not the entire game.
Yeah, I think this is the game that really, unfortunately, shows that the Griffin 3 story has ended, and there's no true hope for him starting in the league again, or him managing more than maybe the 2020 season. Truthfully, I've always been a big supporter of Griffin. I was really upset with what occurred in Washington with him. I was so thankful that the Ravens kind of landed him and got him back in the NFL, and was maybe on the track to maybe finding another spot on another roster when Jackson had the reins taken for him and he was good, and the Ravens could, move on with McSorley as their backup. And unfortunately, I don't think the back half of that's going to come to the former is going to come to fruition. I think Griffin is kind of done in the NFL. Two turnovers. He had two interceptions on 4 passing attempts through 2 games after his second interception with the Ravens, and they're just both not pretty looking. And he struggles in football games and as a passer, and he can still run. We saw it today, but his body's a little bit worn down at this point. He was getting a hamstring injury just doing a little bit of a breakout run, and some of that's due to the lack of practice the Ravens had. Some of it's just I don't think he just has the physical ability anymore.
Yeah, it was kind of I make this analogy a lot. The movie Hacksaw Ridge kind of centers around this pacifist character that somehow finds himself in war, and he's out there like running around without a gun. Like that's kind of what it felt like with RG3. Like he's running around out there, and like he made some plays with his legs. I got to hand it to him. Those some of those option keeps, he did a really good job. He got into a flow after that fumble, which cost him early on, but he got into a flow with it. He had some really nice runs up the interior that, frankly, Lamar, he hit them a few of those early on in the season, but he hasn't been hitting them nearly to the effect that he had been. And RG3 did a pretty nice job with them. Obviously, kind of hurt his hamstring going to the perimeter run there with a little hezzy move that he tried to pull. Didn't work out for him. Imagine that. Yeah, just kind of a rough game for him. I mean, the 2 turnovers, I don't really blame him for the fumble. Interception was pretty rough. He just kind of like tossed it up there for Joe Hayden to just go and dunk on him right in his face. Yeah. And that kind of wound up being everyone's going to be talking about that Luke Wilson drop touchdown, but Steelers don't score a touchdown there. You might be talking about the Ravens winning this game. So, it's hard to, as much as I appreciate his efforts out there, it's hard to say that he wasn't a severely kind of mitigating factor as far as their overall effectiveness. But I guess that's enough scratching around at first base if you want to jump into the questions here with me.
I'd love to jump into the questions. Let's get her going.
Cool. Let me hop into the thread here. By the way, I had my buddy Eric chiming in with Jake absolutely firing off a fit right now. I always do. First of all, let's say that. And by the way, the headband, it's in solidarity with my guy Trace Unitas, who, everyone's in on the joke now, and it's all, the TikToks, it's all great. Like, you want to talk to a guy who was ground floor in on Trace McSorley.
No kidding.
Literally the first like inside joke of this podcast.
That was the first inside joke of this podcast. It was getting so excessive that I actually approached you guys about settling it down, because I thought it was becoming too much of a meme. This was like off the show. I was talking to Jake. I was like, "Hey man, can you guys kind of cool it with this whole Trace thing, like Trace Unitas? I mean, good grief! Like, I don't want us to become too much of a meme for our marketing and like the podcast. Like, I kind of want you guys to be a little bit more serious." And Jake was like, "Dude, we're just doing this for the preseason. Like, it'll calm down as the season goes, but like we're having fun right now." And I'm so proud that you hit so hard on something so great that is Trace McSorley / Unitas.
Little did anyone know. I mean, listen, I'm not a guy. I'm a bigger man than somebody who's going to pump his own tires like that. But little did anyone know that he's going to be coming into a crucial touchdown against the Pittsburgh Steelers late in this important rivalry game against a then 10-0 team. So, not to pump my own tires, like I said, I'm above that, personally. But if somebody were to, kind of do that, let's just say it. I was on the ground floor. But jumping into the questions,
you're the most humble man I know, Jake.
The thing about me is I'm all about the team. Nobody loves the team, and just being humble and kind of sitting in my place more than me. And
man alive.
You won't hear me talk about myself very much, but this question was an interesting one. So Gaz Poole from across the pond, our buddy, the game was over, so it doesn't really matter. But how can tennis have ball placement reviews to the millimeter, yet the NFL still eyes it in? This must be the next improvement, right? And he included a little GIF of tennis ball landing on the line. Chipping the ball. Is it time?
I think there's a little bit of a positive to having an archaic style of measurements. I mean, one, it's known, it's a known use, it's an understood measuring tool, and while it's not the most technically accurate, I don't think technology is going to too much improve the measurement factor of the football, because the football, while yes, you can put it in the tips of the ball and in the middle, but is that always what's going to be leaned out and left on? I mean, is there going to be perfect synchronized tracking of when it went down? And also, when the ball's going down doesn't always mean when the player's down. When their knee is down at a certain point, can you measure where the ball was at that point in time? I think there is some semblance of an understood measuring tool when it's just the chains. And I know it's a little outdated looking, but when it's dated as is, it can be just what it is. It's just a 10-yard measure. It's a 10-yard measuring chain, and there's 2 posts, and that's just kind of how it is. And I don't think technology can too much. I think it would have been implemented if it could be more efficient, but also modifying the football and putting technology inside of a football, if that can modify the way a player throws or uses it, like especially quarterbacks, if it's thrown, if it feels different, if it spirals different. I think that's too much of an impact to try and find out when guys are in a 20-man group pushing a pile one way or another and you can't see the ball.
I feel like more camera angles. Like, I kind of agree with you that it probably isn't just as simple as like a chip or something like that and computerizing it, and the human element being involved. Like, it's kind of sick, honestly. And like, it could be, obviously lead to some issues, which we've seen all season. And this has kind of been another sort of thing of mine that I've been riding for a while that people are starting to come around on, is the refs have been awful this season. Like, not just with the Ravens, I get a little bitchy about that. Like, I'm a homer. I get it. But like, they've just been across the board objectively awful. And like, it's gotten to the point where like certain other primetime games, I'm just like, yeah, I'm good, man. I'm going to go like read a book. Like, I don't need to see like all these terrible roughing the passer calls, which is awful. Offensive holding completely arbitrarily called. And then this is another one that really stands out as just really kind of, yeah, I mean, I give these refs like credit. It's got to be hard to call like the spot at the very least, like, because they don't have good angles on it. Players are like messing with it after the fact and like kind of like cheating in that respect, which we saw some cheating today. We'll get to that, but it's tough. Before we move on to the next one, friend of the show, Naturally Pats, really thought Kyle was actually Rob Lowe. How do you respond to this Rob Lowe comparison?
That is one of the better comparisons I've ever experienced in my life.
It's got to be literally one of the best comparisons you have ever had.
I will happily take Rob Lowe. I was on stream last night. I stream, by the way. We are starting to do some live streamings. I'm going to do a quick ad. Twitch.tv/Baltimore Beatdown. Doing the Twitch streams. Hop on. Make sure to follow on that, folks.
Check it
out. I was compared to last night to Pat Ricard, friend of the pod. And I like that one. And James Hurst and Matt Skura are three people that apparently I look similar to, according to the Twitch chat.
Now that I think about it, he might not be comparing you to Rob Lowe, because he might be thinking of Spenny, whose Twitter avatar is Rob Lowe with the NFL.
How dare you take this from me?
That's a tough scene.
How dare you take this from me after I was compared to Rob Lowe? I had taken this compliment. You monster.
You kind of, with the goatee, you kind of give me some working man's Daniel Day-Lewis vibes.
I'll accept that.
I'm an oil man. Friend of the show, Daniel. Are the Steelers the worst 11-0 team of all time? Yes or yes? You see what he did there? He didn't give you an option to do yes.
That's clever. You don't give it. You just have to say yes. This was something actually mentioned on the stream today. We were trying to look through all the 11-0 teams. I believe there's been 8 in NFL history. I think like the 92 Washington, formerly Redskins team. The most recent, I believe, was the Carolina Panthers when they went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yep. I didn't get a chance to look through all these team stats, but I mean, when you realize the lack of competition that Pittsburgh's really faced this season, it's hard to argue them not as a poor 11-0 team. I mean, they just barely scraped by the Baltimore Ravens, who called up 10 practice squad players, dressed only 36 total players on the field, and were off of maybe 2 walkthrough practices that were socially distanced. Baltimore should not have had any opportunity to win this game. The Steelers had 2, takeaways, including one being returned for a touchdown. They should have had this game wrapped up in the first quarter with everything going their way, and they clearly didn't, because they were a fourth down stop and a Trace McSorley drive from taking an L at home at 11-0 against third stringers and a minor league team at this point.
I don't think the world would have been able to handle that, honestly. So, for everyone involved, maybe it's just a good thing that didn't happen, because I feel like Dane would have popped out of the tunnel there and been like, "Oh yeah, Trace McSorley can throw 2 touchdowns. I'm going to blow up your stadium again." My
funny takeaway that I saw of the many memes that has happened between the Ravens postponements was a quote saying, "I'm fairly certain the NFL made those 2 teams in Batman finish the game even with a blown up field."
They must have, yeah, because mission accomplished. No postponements. Keep it fucking rolling.
Can't stop.
Yeah. Naturally Cats from Twitter. Do Mark Andrews and Nick Boyle catch that pass to end the first half? I'm going to say no. I feel like that was kind of a harder catch than people are giving him credit for.
It wasn't a straight up drop. And it looked like it initially. It looked like that dude just dropped it when he came back down. Mm-hmm. But in reality, Minka gave him a club when he was
played that textbook, like how you're supposed to play DB, which isn't a given all the time.
Yeah, and Minka is a really good DB. He was All-Pro, I believe, last year. He'll likely get an All-Pro this year. He's widely heralded as one of the best hybrid DBs in the league, because he's played some safety, he's played some corner, he roams around a lot, and at one point the Ravens were considering trying to be a part of the trade mix for him. He's a really good football player, but I don't know. I think they do catch that, though. Personally, I think all things considered, like Nick Boyle has some pretty sure hands.
He actually kind of did catch that pass. Was it against the Chiefs early in the season? He had like a touchdown in the back of the end zone.
I think something of the sort. Yeah, I can't remember quite offhand. But like Nick Boyle has some sure hands. If anybody drops it, it's unfortunately like Mark Andrews, just because he'll have like a bad game here or there. But even so, like Mark Andrews, I believe, has 5 touchdowns on the year, 6 touchdowns on the year. Like that would have been a play I think Andrews gains more separation on, because he's a faster, more refined player at that. But if you go, moment for moment, does Mark Andrews catch that the same way that Luke Wilson doesn't? It's all moot more than anything.
It's like, man, just grab this ball out of my hands. Putting a frat house into my regular house? We can't do this, guys. I'm just trying to catch this ball in the back of the end zone. Get Snoop Dogg and Will Ferrell out of my house, man. My wife cheated on me. I'm Luke Wilson. That was a tough catch. Like, I gotta hand it to them. Like, the fact that they got that playoff like they did with the Steelers fucking laying on the ball and just like blatant cheating, and just delaying the game.
Cheating.
Of course, they're going to do that. Like, what are you gonna do? Refs, get involved in the game. Take control of it. That is your fucking job. I hate the refs. Orioles haiku. If we make the playoffs and play them fully healthy, no doubt we win. In my opinion, the Ravens should be fired up. I wouldn't say no doubt. The playoffs are a long time from now. You got to get there first, and then we'll see where both of these teams are at that time. If they even meet, I mean, the Steelers are probably going to be the 1 seed, so the Ravens are going to have to make some magic happen to even get there. Yeah,
if the Ravens stumble into being the 6th seed. And they manage to catch them as the 2 seed. That's about it. It depends on really the last few games for KC and Pittsburgh, and then Baltimore bucking up these last 5 games and trying to make it in over some sluggish wild card competition as well.
Yeah, Jeremy Keith. What do you think this game says about the Ravens and the team going forward? Being in striking distance, a few plays short of winning, is impressive with the players we had. I agree. What do you think?
Yeah, overall agree. The Ravens really looked good. Greg Roman called a great game. Greg Roman found some players in space and kind of, adapted his play calling to cater to Griffin, the lack of their throwing abilities for Trace McSorley. And let his playmakers kind of do a little bit more. And unfortunately, they were, a blatant cheating lie down, no extra down at the half. They were a Luke Wilson drop / like pass breakup, and just a few pieces short than really having a true competitive matchup against the Pittsburgh Steelers. This was interesting.
Yeah, I think what I'm most encouraged by is the fact that you see a big play out of Hollywood Brown, who I feel like people have been really dumping on the guy. And like, I've kind of been on the corner where it's like, yeah, he's got to get his head out of his ass. But like, once he does, he's like a good player and could like at the very worst be a high end number 2 receiver for you. The fact that he goes and makes that big play, it's got to feel really good for him, build some confidence. I think Colon Castillo looked like a little bit of a find at center there potentially. He made some plays in the run game. And yeah, I mean, Wilson had a couple blocks. He also had obviously the play in the end zone, people are going to get on him and dog on him, but they're also kind of dogging on him for a quote unquote drop near the end, where Trace threw it a little bit behind him. So I'm not going to get on Wilson too much. Just the fact that he was kind of out there and doing some stuff, I think was good, because I feel like he might be a guy who could be a good rotational tight end for you once you have Andrews kind of back into the mix there. So nice to see that. RC. Thank God this week is finished. The longest week in NFL history.
Man, my week is nowhere near finished.
It's just the 30 Rock meme, Lemon, it's Wednesday.
Yes. I love 30 Rock. I haven't watched that in quite a long time.
Me neither.
Is
that on Netflix right now?
I think it was taken down. One of us needs to start talking while the other one looks, and we just kind of keep pausing and extending this conversation long past its nature for the sake of somebody's Netflix to load up a little bit, and then they would look up 30 Rock. and they would find
You're
that
just
it's not
absolutely you're crushing this filibuster
on Netflix.
Looks like it's on Hulu. You absolutely crush that though. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back into that. I only saw like the first season or so, but it's good. Bird Build saying it's all about the good place. I've been meaning to check.
That's a buddy of mine.
I'm a big Ted Danson guy. I've been meaning to look into that.
I've been looking to try and get into looking like Ted Danson. He is a sharp gentleman.
He's what you call a silver fox right there. One of the funniest dudes in the world too. If you ever watch Curb Your Enthusiasm, he always manages to go punch for punch with Larry David, which is not easy to do. That's great.
I haven't watched a whole lot of Curb. I need to do some more.
Yeah, if you want to understand me a little better, watch that show. AB, do you think the coaches called a good game? Seems like there were multiple bad play calls, such as clock management, punting on fourth, and not trusting Tucker and not going forward on fourth down. Yeah, it was weird. I think some of the going forward on fourth down stuff, that's just kind of a function of like not trusting the players you have out there, which I'm not going to get on them for. And then the offensive play calls, some people were getting on Roman. I thought he called his best game in a little while. And Wink is just a gangster, and he did a good job again this week. So I like
great. Yeah, like you said, quickly and do this. Wink, great play calling. Ravens executed as much as they could against an undefeated team. There was great game calling by Greg Roman, and like you said, they didn't kind of go for some fourth downs, and that's like you said, just because they don't have the playmakers. They're down, so they picked up 10 players from the practice squad. That's insane. They still had any kind of a fighting chance in this game at all. Shout out Tumbleweed, Wyoming. That is a relative of mine. So
good to see all your boys.
Good to see some fam in the chat. Good to see some family in the chat. It's good to see y'all.
Drop some F's in the chat for Kyle's skills. Orioles Haiku follows up with plus most of the flock is immune now. Ravens are clearly thinking ahead. You got to think that's part of this strategy was just herd immunity, get them all at a over together, a little pillow fight situation, and just get the vid, and then you're good to go.
Stop. Next.
Liam F. Ridings. Outside of the no delay of game and Luke Wilson drop, I'm pretty happy with how they played. I can't imagine boasting about that Steelers team. Twice they've had help from the refs to lead to victory against us this season. It's a tough scene for these Steelers. They're really going to be getting it from all sides here. Just like it was a real tough week for them. Overcame so much adversity and the game being moved and Marquise Pouncey missing wow. It's just pains me.
You ready for some numbers? The Baltimore Ravens
ready for some numbers.
Are a net negative 333 yards to penalties. They are a negative 25 in penalties, meaning their opponents have been called for 25 fewer penalties, or they have been called for 25 more penalties than their opponents, and they have lost 333 yards to penalties or been penalized for 333 yards more than their opponents. The number one team after today in net yards is Pittsburgh with positive 255 net yards to penalties. It's absolutely aggravating. They're third place in net count of penalties. They've been called for 12 fewer penalties than their opponents. So it's just not ideal. The Ravens, they have 25 pre-snap penalties, and if all 25 were those are technically the difference maker in their net count. So yes, the Ravens have some discipline issues that they're struggling through, but overall, Pittsburgh's getting gift wrapped changes, and for the 6-time Super Bowl champs, beloved Pittsburgh black and gold team, and they're 10-0. Apparently the world's out to get them, even though they are clearly getting benefited in their calls, in their officiating in the games that they're playing.
Notice you're a penalized guy.
I am a penalized guy. Not a penalized.
Any reason for that, or?
No, that's the word. It's penalized.
Okay. Just checking,
I had a coach that would say adults,
Adults are getting insurance.
Adults. He'd say adults sometimes. Too.
Adults and adults are getting penalized on their insurance.
Mm-hmm. Am I putting the emphasis on the wrong syllable? Is that what you're telling me?
Actually, yeah. This might be fragile. It must be Italian. Let's get back to these questions.
Gorlami.
Arrivederci. Ben Walks. How are the NFL refs so bad at spotting? Good question. Because they're old as shit and they can't see and they're not given appropriate camera angles. Like it
feels like such a live stream. It's so great. You just scroll through.
Get these guys in some like ref school or something and like do something about it.
There needs to be accountability. There's no accountability. That's the issue with the with officiating in many of the professional leagues.
Start docking paychecks. I'm coming for your paycheck. I drink your milkshake. Skipjack. This is kind of his block. Is there any way to stop going back to the old me and wanting to see Harbaugh fired? Constantly feel like we're playing sloppy late era Flacco ball. Some people are on this block. I'm not.
This game needs to be completely taken separately from the rest of the season, I'd argue.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, it's a totally played in a vacuum, like played on Mars game. Like it was weirdest
played
game
on Wednesday. It was played in the afternoon because NBC wasn't going to change their broadcast rights of lighting a Christmas tree. Like, take that into context, folks.
Did you watch the ceremony?
No, I live streamed post game on twitch.tv/Baltimore Beatdown. And then I took a nap because I have been grinding. I'm a hustle grinder. I work hard out here. And I finally took a nap.
Because I'm out here grinding.
And then I'm pinch hitting on the pod, buddy.
You're killing it.
Clutch.
Okay. Free Josh Gordon Stan account. Will the Ravens make the playoffs? I'm going to say yes.
What's the rest of their schedule?
You got Cowboys, Giants, Brownies, Jaguars.
Questionable.
Browns is the only game I'm really worried about. You got Giants at home. I'm kind of worried about that game, but I feel like they can pull that out.
Cowboys, Ravens.
Jaguars, Bengals away with no Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I think the Ravens can reasonably go 4-1 in that stretch, and that would be 10-6.
They'd be like, I think they'd be. You're looking at probably the last seed, but I think ultimately they're going to get in.
Yeah, I think that I would agree with that.
Dr. Dan Potter, I feel the same way about head refs. So he's talking about like the ref incompetency, and he says, I feel the same way about head refs always agreeing with flags no matter what. What's the point of having someone in charge if you just roll with it, especially with so much video immediately available? This is a sick take. I think they need to look into maybe having some sort of panel discussion on some of these calls. Like the refs have to come together and like if one says one thing and they don't deliberate, like they come to it independently with their call. And then they have to defend it, and then I like that idea.
I think it's,
and then a fan gets a vote too, just a lucky fan.
A fan vote. And here we go, folks. The call of the Super Bowl, and we're leaving it up to the fan.
The Grateful Dead shirt is
section 314, seat 18 of row 14. Jacob Luke, please come on down. Let us talk and defer and discuss this defensive pass interference penalty on the New Orleans Saints against the Kansas City Chiefs. What did you think of that play there?
Well, you know what, Al? The thing about me is that nobody's more humble than I am and willing to kind of go out of the way to help the team out and also make an investment call. So I'm going to have to go ahead and make the call that favorites my team because that's truly just the process that I want to see happening here.
Can I just say,
Chris had a good day today.
I love you, Chris. I love you, Chris Collinsworth, and I love the tweet that you had a while back. Jake, you hit some haymakers on Twitter, man, and it was well, here's a guy that was working at Jimmy John's delivering sandwiches the other day, and then second 5.
Second and 5.
Second and 5. Just the interruptions by Hal when he's just like done with it. He doesn't have anything to respond with. Just third and 6. Here we go.
Truly a special talent. It's amazing. Seth Gutman loved how the defense played. Even the guys who were making their first or second appearance played well, like Harris and Tremont. Really think we need to add an outside linebacker who can play the run better for 2021. The Steelers just dropped another pass as I started writing this. Especially that loudmouth dickhead, Eric Ebron. Keep dropping passes and then running to Twitter and crying. Eric Ebron. Get the fuck out of here, dude. And bust.
How many stupid TikTok dances am I going to stumble upon tonight? Scrolling at 1 a.m. because my sleep schedule is screwed.
Did you see what that little clown posted on Instagram? Little Juju?
No, I have not seen what Juju posted yet. Is it super hot fire?
Oh, dude, it's so. Oh my god, it's so lit, as the Gen Zers would say, like him. Imagine getting stiff arm. So he posted a video of him stiff arming Tremont, and he writes, "Imagine getting stiff armed 10 yards by a TikTok influencer, like sick." And then Willie Snead like commented under the Sports Center thing on Twitter, "That boy's soft as hell."
Oof.
Yeah, it's there's no love lost between these two teams. Al, let me tell you what. Then when they get together. We're talking about TikToks and all the stuff that's going on Fortnite these days. You can tell that there's just truly no love lost between these two teams. Really, really great to watch. First down and 10.
Second and 9.
But yeah, the defense really encouraged. I thought Tyus Bowser, a great game, had the interception, obviously. Mm-hmm. The run defense, like he mentions that, I feel like you just get Calais Campbell back, and then Judon, he might not be in the picture for the long term, but I think he'll help with that when he comes back as well. I'm kind of done worrying about like investing in run defense personally. Like let's go premium positions, as our buddy Voss likes to talk about. I'm more into that.
Buddy Voss. Yeah. Something notable that Voss mentioned was at one point Patrick Queen was subbing in for, Chris Board was subbing in for Patrick Queen, and that is not a sign you want to see of your first round drafted linebacker getting subbed out for his lack of coverage skills or awareness skills, what have you, what you want to call them. And that was ugly. That's ugly to see. The little bit of if you want to go and break this game down a little bit, that was pretty harsh. No, you don't need to invest in run defense. It was mentioned in the Slack, like the Ravens are just going to pay Brandon Williams until he's 40, just ride or die with Brandon Williams' health,
and then he's going to be the defensive line coach for the Ravens.
Yes, exactly. That's it. Brandon Williams is the dude. That's all you need to stop the run. That's what he was built for. That was his entire destiny, was to become a Baltimore Ravens defensive lineman and just stop the run for 2 decades. He's built for it, man. Why not? But no, you don't need to stop the run. The trenches aren't about stopping the run. At this point, the league is catered towards offense so much that you just gotta attack quarterbacks and you gotta hit people, because it's all about exciting splash plays. As you can tell, TJ Watt gets an unblocked sack on Griffin and the world set ablaze that he's going to be defensive player of the year, and nobody dances more for an unblocked sack than TJ Watt.
Yeah, I mean, somebody had to take up the fucking corny mantle in the Watt family, so it might as well have been him. Fly Quan, do Lamar come back this week? I think
Lamar come back this week?
He meant does. Yeah, he wrote do. Does Lamar come back? I'm going to say yes. If he can go, I think he's going to push it to the limit and get himself out there. But he also, you don't know what these guys are dealing with, but there's been no reports of him dealing with like any kind of crazy symptoms or anything. So hopefully he's good and healthy.
Yeah, Marquise Brown did mention that in when he was approached by media, that he spoke with Lamar and he was in good spirits or high spirits. I can't quite remember which one it was, but that he's just excited to get back on the football field.
Zeke Batman, is it almost a positive that it took this long to get an illegal formation? Confidence boost game for Hollywood. What does our O-line look like from here? Overall, not upset about today. It was a positive about the illegal formation. They did a little bit better with procedural penalties, I would say. Definitely confidence booster for Hollywood, like we touched on. O-line from here, that's an interesting one. Colon Castillo looks solid, and you've had a rotation at center. So, I mean, why not kind of work him into it? And I'm positive about today as well. Wannabe Ken, what are the chances Trace starts against the Cowboys? And if so, with more weapons coming off of the COVID-19 list, can the team turn in a solid offensive performance? Like I said, I think Lamar is going to be back for that game, but
I agree with all the guys up in Dundalk. They need to trade that Lamar guy. They gotta get that Trace kid starting.
Let me tell you what, hon, that guy Lamar Jackson cannot throw a football for his life. The other day, I was just driving down the 95 Expressway, listening to 105.7, and Jeremy made the stupidest point about how Lamar can throw the ball because he can't, dude. Got to get Trace in there. Chris Flash. I don't think I ever felt so good after a loss. What a showing for practice squatters with no practice on the road against a 10-0 team. I'm genuinely
I had fun
for the rest of the season. Yeah, it was. I think it's a testament to people getting on the coaching staff. I think that is a testament to John Harbaugh.
I had so much fun today. Like you knew the outcome was going to be near impossible to be switched from a Steelers victory, but that was a game that like I had fun, and like Trace coming in was just so much fun just for the memes. And then for him to hit a 70-yard touchdown pass was everything we could have ever hoped for. And it wasn't like this rope. It wasn't this 70-yard rope. It was him hitting a comeback Hollywood and him burning everybody like we know he can. And it was so cool to one, like just the joke aspect of it. Two, because I'm excited about Hollywood getting that touchdown pass, to getting that play. I've drug him on my articles because I think when you vocalize something like he did on Twitter, you need to make the plays to back it up. And he was struggling. He dropped some passes. He didn't make what's best of it. He shied away from contact. We've seen it. And I think that deserved criticism, and I think it was fair criticism. But for that to then occur, I'm so happy. I'm so excited for him. I'm excited for the team. And what's next? I'm rooting for him down the stretch. We got a YouTube question as well. What's Mark Andrews' deal? Is he back in yet? Well, he's currently dealing with COVID. He also is with type 1 diabetes, which is kind of one of the scary things that's going on with the whole COVID situation. So we'll see if he's back for the Cowboys game.
Yeah, so hopefully he can get through that. It's not good for people with diabetes typically, but he sounds like he's going to be doing okay, and he's got access to good care, so he should be fine. Lamarvelous, Alec Whistler. Trace not being afraid to throw outside the numbers. Hollywood gets catch in his frame, and magic happens. What do you make of that? He wasn't afraid to throw outside the numbers. He definitely had an interceptable pass, but he looked good out there. I mean, his NFL size, it definitely looks weird. He does not have the average body type of a quarterback. He looks kind of like stumpy out there, which is kind of sick.
He was Kyler Murray in a Ravens uniform.
Kind of, yeah. But he showed some good instincts with scrambles. He had like a first down run, and the ball just popped off his arm way better than it did RG3. Mm-hmm. Like I said, he had that interceptable pass, and then like the touchdown actually kind of was a little questionable too. The defensive back just misplayed it so badly, and then Hollywood put his buddy Minka on skates for like the third straight time.
God, I love it.
So that was more of a good play by Hollywood, but he just looks more. He's got more juice out there, at least from what we saw through a couple drives.
He had nothing to lose at that point. RG3 was out. He was with this hamstring injury. The Ravens are down against the undefeated Steelers team. When else are you going to sling it? When else are you going to go into a game with no fear and just make your plays as best as you can? That's the game. In space crazy Wednesday afternoon 3-time postponed football game against an undefeated team. That's when you start slinging it and just hoping for the best and trying to have some fun. And it looked like you did.
Yeah, definitely. So that's going to be a big moment for him too. He grew up a Redskins fan, I think. But I mean, going
a Washington football team fan.
Well, they were the Redskins.
No.
Okay, like gonna come on here and get all semantics on me.
I said it earlier. I was teasing you. I just wanted to. You're cruising. You're at too high of a cruising altitude, dude. We're having way too much fun. I had to pull us down.
We're
Create some
serious on
turbulence.
the show. We don't tease each other, just so you know.
Okay.
But yeah, he went to Penn State, so a nice little moment for him there in Pennsylvania.
Are you going to play the anthem for us as the outro?
We might get a copyright strike on it, honestly. You got to think some record label has made a lot of money off of that. But yeah, okay.
I think that's an actual record label thing. I played it on the Twitch stream, and I was like, if I get DMCA'd, I'm going to be so upset.
No, I mean, we did it. We closed out an episode with it last summer or 2 summers.
Oh, yeah. I remember. It was glorious.
It was. David Giusti, what are the chances that Trace becomes a QB2 for the rest of the season? You might as well just do it. Like RG3's, I feel for the guy. He wanted this to be like his audition to become a starting quarterback. I don't even think he should be the number 2 quarterback for the Ravens right now.
Correct. He might be done in the NFL after 2020 is what I was kind of considering. Yeah.
Which, he made some money. Like he had a nice little comeback run as a solid sort of kind of a good role model for Lamar. So he had a nice little run. Steve Fisher, what is your initial reaction to Devontae Harris? Seemed impressive for what he was asked to do. Was really impressed with him and Tremont. Who knew he would tackle and throw his body around? Yeah, both those guys had a nice game. They were really kind of throwing their weight around. Tremont brought the wood in particular on one hit, and then Devontae made a play in one-on-one, I think. So they both had a pretty nice game.
Yeah, I was really impressed with Devontae Harris. And regarding RG3, $33.7 million gross pay. Not a bad.
Is that any good or
not a bad chunk of change? And from what I know,
and then he's also got Jared signing his checks from Subway there.
No.
And then he probably made like however many millions of dollars off of like all the fucking slogans that he made. You got to think No Pressure, No Diamonds made him. I made $1 million.
Yeah, no kidding.
Zeege Batman. Also, Marlon had a nice bounce back game. Wasn't playing bad, but wasn't himself. Was tested a lot today, especially in red zone, and stepped up. Yeah, he made a play in the end zone. Was mixing it up with a little TikTok juju a little bit, I think. So nice game for Marlon. I've had my concerns about him coming back from COVID. I think he's looked a little sluggish at times, but maybe this is the bounce back effort that they needed.
Yeah, overall, still has yet to allow a touchdown reception in his coverage. Forced 2 fumbles today. Leads the NFL in forced fumbles. Not a big deal. He played great.
Yeah, that forced fumble was funny because it was like looking like an incomplete pass, and it was a forced fumble, and it's like, oh, he's just got another forced fumble today. It's like, oh, 6. Like, is that any good? It's like, yeah. Ashwin Srinivasan, I believe is how you say it. What are your Trace McSorley overreactions? We'll start with you. You're the big Trace guy here. So
I was so happy, dude. I loved it. Watching him just jump in the game. He's quarterback 2. He might be vying for quarterback 1. We'll see. We'll see how Lamar comes in on this Cowboys game. We'll find out whether or not McSorley finds his way back in by halftime against them.
I like how your
American team
is like a landman in like Lubbock, Texas.
I'm just here, just tossing it out. I don't know what any Maryland accents are. I don't have the Dundalk references.
You ever seen The Wire?
Dude, I've seen season 1 of The Wire.
Keep watching The Wire. You get some good Baltimore accents.
I have the full DVD collection. Unfortunately, I have 18 credits, a sports job, and a bartending gig, and a pandemic to also grind through. So my little bit of free time is only happy vibe shows. My girlfriend hates it. Shout out Allie Wells.
Happy vibe shows. That's dude.
I'm watching Schitt's Creek. I was watching reruns of The Office for like the first 4 months of the pandemic, and then like I can't watch like sad shows. I can't watch dramas. Like I have so much stress going on in my life that I only watch like happy, bubbly, like kind of just like HGTV shows and Hallmark stuff. Not literally those, but like that's all I can handle, man. I'm going through way too much to deal with anything dramatic.
I'm the same way a little bit, especially with movies. I just don't. I'm not watching horror movies or anything like that these days.
I can't stomach it.
Yeah, no, I do the same thing. Like on Sunday or something, I'm hungover. I just flip on some Entourage or something. I just zone out for like 3 hours. It's just like the perfect like relaxing situation. Nice. My Trace McSorley overreaction, which is actually not an overreaction, is that I think he should be the quarterback too. If not this year, then next year when I think RG's contract is going to be up anyway. I think he showed something today, so good for him. Ravens 24-7, 365. They lost by 5 to a 10-0 division rival while playing with a severely depleted roster. He was saying that in response to a guy who said offense sucks, defense sucks.
Offense sucks.
I wanted to throw that out there.
Offense sucks. Defense sucks. They lost. Fire everybody.
Paul, he sucks. Yeah, I thought that was a pretty sick take.
Yeah. Good Periscope question from Naturally Cats. Didn't notice this until now. Gus had 10 rushing yards on 9 carries, particularly concerning? ? I think the Ravens needed to utilize more east-west running styles because just right up the gut, they didn't have the traditional offensive line that they can boast to really just push the pile. And the Steelers have a decent front, and so causing misdirection, causing a little bit of confusion, and using a faster back like Justice Hill allowed for a little bit better of a game plan and strategy.
Justice Hill totally chipping away. Good game from him today. Good game on special teams the last couple of weeks. He's kind of resurrecting himself back from the dead here. I like it.
He's trying to keep on that roster, and I respect it.
Okay, jumping into the YouTube and Periscopes. So we had Supa 8. When they're at full strength, they're going to be dominant. A depleted team almost beat the Steelers. I wouldn't go that far. I think they were probably pretty jacked up on the endorphins and kind of trying to rally around each other, and that probably helped a little bit. So I think that's maybe part of the reason why they were able to keep it close with this B squad. But when they do get healthy, I wouldn't say dominant, but I think they already showed that they can hang with the team like the Steelers at full strength. So,
Steelers also had a horrible game in terms of dropped passes. This game's played 5 times. This is the best result of them.
Garnett, 478. Cologne Castillo is a center. He is indeed a center. And then he chimes back in with a good center. So I love Garnett. He's our guy. Did Bowser secure the bag now? Yeah, I think he did, whether it's in Baltimore or not. I kind of hope he does stick around, but I think he earned himself a nice little payday.
Yeah, Bowser's been lighting it up. He's got a pretty good season under his hand. His stats right now, 3 passes defensed. He's got 2 interceptions, 2 sacks, 16 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 9 QB hits. Not a bad season. I wouldn't say he secured this mega paycheck. I think a team will, reach for him a little bit just because any pass rushers are known commodities and I don't know if he'll stick around in Baltimore, but somebody will pay him a reasonable chunk of change.
Okay. Devin H., how many Trace questions did you get? We got a lot, and we answered them all. That's what we're here for.
Every last one of them.
Spankety, he does throw it on a dime. Yes, he does, my friend. Garnett, love you, Jake. Love you too, buddy. Thank you for tuning in. Garnett also chiming in. Would you guys consider our safety just serviceable? I think Elliott kind of is that at this point, while he's kind of coming into his own and getting his sea legs a little bit. I think Chuck, you could maybe make that argument because his pass coverage is not great, or at least hasn't been recently. But the guy is just he's a chalkboard Charlie. I mean, he's drawing things up. He's communicating with the defense and doing a lot of things that we don't really see as far as happening during the play. He's more of a play-to-play asset. So I think Chuck is much more than serviceable.
Most cerebral player on the field, I would argue.
Yep, exactly. Spankety, what did Hollywood have for breakfast today? I'm gonna go Wheaties, little sunny side up eggs, and he maybe threw a little bacon in there and got crazy with it.
I think he had a hot breakfast, like a bowl of oatmeal, We got the warm belly going right in the beginning, right early in the morning.
Now you're getting into Michael Scott territory, wondering about what he should eat on his first date or his third date because he's thinking he's going to get laid after it. He's maybe something light. It's I'm going to score a touchdown. Maybe something a little.
Dude,
light.
Every time I hop on this pod, I'm just in laughing fits. I hope the listeners are cool with hearing just Kyle laughs on the pod. Evan Ash, the most recent comment. I'll let you read that one out if you can see it.
Whoa, K-Boob on the pod. That's a good nickname. I think we might have to make that stick.
Dude, Kyle Boober has been mentioned every Twitch stream, and people love it. And I'm laughing at it now. It's hilarious.
I think you should legally change your name at this point.
I won't be changing it to Kyle Boober. I'm sorry. I'm so buttered that it became such a meme from me just posting it with a ghost for Halloween. I was trying to be like fun because you had the pumpkin and Spenny had like his name as Spenny Pumpkins. I was like, oh, instead of Barber, I could be like Boober, like boo, like ghost. And you're like Boober.
You should have just gone with Kyle Demon Barber.
I should have done Demon with the little like devil horn thing, but I didn't. And now I'm Boober.
And it's funny because they have fleets now, so you could have been the Demon Barber of Fleet Street.
Really missed an opportunity in my life.
Sounds like you came to that a little too late. Yeah, then we had your guys. My turban is dirty. Why is there no blue food? It's a good question.
What?
Why is there no blue food? He asks. Blueberries, are they blue?
You're rocking a blue shirt. Is that food?
No, it's not food. Actually, you might.
I'm just trying to figure this out, man. I'm working this problem through, all right?
Blue. I mean, there's candy, but that's artificially colored. Our blueberries are blue, yes?
Yeah.
There is blue food.
Are we like thinking of blue foods right now? Is that what we got to do? I mean,
that's what I'm doing. I don't know about you. I mean, if you got,
I wasn't sure what we were doing. I didn't understand the question on its face.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that looks like pretty much all we got. And then we had William B. Kaplan, Jake, respect for Lights, Camera, Barstool in your top 5 pods of the year. No question, just respect. That was actually Matt that you're thinking of. That is my guy from That's a Bingo podcast, which you should check out if you like listening to me talk and listening to me talk about movies, because that's what I do over there. Respect to Lights, Camera, Barstool. They're a good pod. I don't listen to them as much as some of my other movie pods, but yeah, they're good. Zimmy Rhino saying blueberries are blue. So there we go. There we have it.
Shout out Zimmy Rhino, by the way. Dude was in my stream the other night and was hooking it up on the Twitch chat.
I was
good guy.
Literally this close to calling him Zimmerino. Because of like soccer players, they have like Eno, it's like little at the end of their name. Like,
right.
Yeah. So there you go. Looks like,
dude, I didn't even know you like did a podcast, like a separate podcast about movies until it like was like suggested for you on my Twitter, and it was just that to me. I was like, oh, what kind of like, do I get podcast references now? And it's like Jake Luke is in this. It's like, cool. Way to not tell me that you got like some cool pod.
Yeah, you ever want to come on there? Let me know. Real G's move in silence like lasagna. That's what I always say.
That's what you've coined.
I've always said that.
Lil Wayne, Jake Luke.
Yeah. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott. But yeah.
Yeah, thanks for clearing up that reference.
Yeah. Well, listen, they might not know. I've only made like 4 office references tonight, so
only.
Yeah. Okay, but looks like we're close to an hour. Pretty tight hour we did there. I think it was fun episode, fun game today. Any closing thoughts?
Yeah, it was a fun episode. Always happy to hop on here. I love recording with you guys, whether it's just you, Spenny and I, Voss and I, whatever it is. Always enjoy doing the recording, get some FaceTime with you boys. But game, like I said, I had fun. It was low expectations, and it allowed us to just kind of enjoy football instead of just deal with the stress of like, oh my God, they can't get a 3rd down against the Colts. What's the problem here? Let's diagnose this. Like football becomes work for us. And it becomes a really stressful thing that like I sometimes miss just watching a game. And like I don't get to watch a whole lot of like the Sunday games because I'm grinding homework once the Ravens games are done. But like it'll be nice it was really nice just to enjoy a football game and have some fun and be silly with it, and when it's over, just talk about the game with your friends and just be done with it. Like this game, it's done. We had fun. Cheers. On to the next one.
Ravens are 6-5. Things are going to get real serious real quick, but we had a fun sort of interlude between that extremely low point that was the Titans game and the following one. And then, today, not necessarily a high point, obviously, but it's something. National League Cats football only being once a week and being the most popular sport in America is a terrible formula. It's terrible for our mental health and everything, but it's the perfect, most addicting formula they could have come up with. Mr. Maller. Shout out to Mr. Maller. Rough one today,
Yes.
fellas. Proud of them. And Zimmy Rhino, firm handshakes all around and cheers. So that'll get us out of there. Really appreciate everyone tuning in. Really fun episode tonight. It's always waiting all day for Tuesday night. It's always fun hopping on here with you, bud. I appreciate you doing so at a little bit of a short notice here. Spenny is going to be back on at the later recording that we do, or I guess early next week recording that we do to preview the Dallas game Tuesday night. So make sure you stick around, stay tuned for that. It's going to be hopefully a fun game against Andy Dalton, Garrett Gilbert, whoever it's going to be. See what happens. Get weird with it. We got weird with it today. It was fun despite the loss. Hopefully going to be talking about a win next time around. But until then, if you're not subscribed to the show where you get your pods, feel free to do so on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that stuff. If you're doing Apple, go ahead and leave us that 5-star review or 5-star rating and a review. And follow us on social media. You can follow the show on Twitter at Podcast Beatdown. You can follow me at Jake Luke. That is LOUQUE. You can follow Kyle at where can they follow you?
At BB_Kyle P. Barber. You can follow the main account at Be More Beatdown. And the new social media is the Twitch, which is twitch.tv/Baltimore Beatdown. Hit us with a follow. If you love it so much, you can also subscribe. We do appreciate anything sent that way. Any other ones? So we got Instagram, right?
Well, you were sending me some TikTok samples earlier in the day. You want to tell the folks about that all the time?
Yeah, I was throwing it on a dime, dude.
Yeah, and doing some juju dances. So TikTok's coming. Well, I actually did do a TikTok over the summer that did pretty well on Twitter, but we don't have to get into
I have
that.
done 0 TikToks. My girlfriend wants to do a social media thing together and be fun, and I'm all about it. More FaceTime, more me in front of a camera, me in an ego formula. Yeah, put me all in it. We have yet to do anything.
I did some Twitch streaming over the summer doing a little F1. I might hop back into that because I've been playing a lot more F1 recently. So I might hop into that. Maybe I'll buy Call of Duty at some point. But yeah, I guess that wraps us up and we are free to get out of here. Like I said, bud, appreciate your time. Appreciate all you beautiful people tuning in. And we'll talk to you again very soon.
Happy to be on here, man. You all take care. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening, downloading, and leave those reviews for Jake and Spenny on the pod.
Stay positive, test negative.